Women absolutely revel in their appointed role by the mainstream media as the perpetual victims of non-existent male oppression. And I think I'll kick this off by bastardizing a few lines from My Fair Lady, otherwise known as Pygmalion, when it comes to women enjoying pretending in their own twisted, brainwashed minds that they're victims. They're willing to be offended. They're wanting to be offended. They're waiting to be offended. They absolutely love pretending that they've been offended because they love playing the victim. Feminists have such a grip over women's minds that they can introduce anything, no matter how petty. They can introduce it to a woman and suggest to her, because women are so suggestible, they're so gullible, they're so stupid and so incapable of thinking for themselves and actually countering this non-stop fucking propaganda, which they're not just addicted to, they love it. They're addicted to it. Manspreading. What? It's fucking manspreading. Mansplaining. So you can't say anything to them without them complaining. Man-slamming. That was a new one they introduced, I think, I don't know, last year. I think Goodfella did something about that, and he said that when you're walking towards a woman in the street, they hog the fucking pavement. They are not going to make way. They're not going to budge an inch in most cases. Some women do. But if you're walking towards them and your shoulder and their shoulders were going to clash in the street, they expect you to make way for them as if they're the Queen of fucking Sheba. And Goodfella, when he's approaching women like that, he gets down on one knee and pretends to do up his shoelace, apparently. So they have to pass around him. Last time I tried an experiment, probably going back about, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years or something, when I'd first realised this, and I only tried it on with women in their 20s and 30s who were able to, because I'm a big guy, so if I hit a woman with my shoulder, it's going to shake her up a bit. And within minutes, in a shopping precinct, I'd man-slammed into 3 fucking women. One with her boyfriend, she started squealing to him. He looked at me and thought, fuck that, because I was a little bit bigger than him, to say the least, but she wanted him to white knight for her. I thought, fuck it. And then I slightly made way, not quite as much as I'd usually make way, but I slightly made way, but they still wouldn't make way. And there'd be physical contact there. And I'd look back at them and they'd be looking back at me as if with these filthy looks on their faces like, how fucking dare he? How dare he not get out of the way for me? Doesn't he know I'm female and that I'm far more important than him? Queen of Sheba syndrome. Toilet seat syndrome. How can you get it into a human being's head that a toilet seat should be always in the correct position for them, for the woman? She pisses when she sits there on a toilet seat. She pisses sitting down. She shits sitting down, and she expects that toilet seat to be down permanently for her. Now, I had an idea donkeys years ago of having a toilet seat which would, after use in the upright position, would automatically come down and replace itself. And I'm not going to reveal the location, but I went on a series of engineering courses at this place, and lo and behold, they fucking had a toilet like that. When you'd finish pissing into it, the toilet seat would come down very slowly and gently, so it was convenient. It's just fuck. And when I've confronted women with their sexist hatred of men that's absolutely everywhere, I'm pretty sure I've said this in the video before, they come out with shit like, it's the boot on the other foot, it's women rewriting the rules, it's women turning the tables, it's women taking revenge. And one of the favourite ones that I used to see on daytime debate shows all the time was, when a man tried to defend himself, God help him, you've been doing it to us for hundreds of years, it's our turn to do it to you. Sometimes it was thousands of years. I've actually confronted women with this a long time ago in the past, when they come up with that shit, and so I just turn it around on them. I say, so your father has been doing it to half the human race, the female half, who used to be inextricably linked to the other half. He's been doing it for thousands of years, or is it hundreds of years? When did he start doing it? Did he do it? Was this BC when he started doing this to half the women in the world before any of us were born? Was it AD? Was it 296 BC? Was it in the 13th century, the 15th century? And then they'll come out with something like, you know what we mean. And I just say to them, no, I don't know what you mean, and you don't know what you mean because you're fucking brainwashed. And then they just give you filthy luck. And they'll usually, if there's company around, they'll look for a man to want to have a fight with you. I mean, that would never happen with me because I do everything to avoid that. Or I tell her, if I've got to go outside with that cunt and fuck him up, I'm going to drag you out by the fucking hair and beat the shit out of you too. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating any violence here. Actually, I'd probably just walk away from this shit. And certainly don't waste your time trying the man-slamming thing on, or you could end up these days in bloody jail, because here in Britain, we've got the hysteria has become so ridiculous as feminists desperately search around for something else to create hysteria in the minds of the feeble-headed female of the species. We've now got wolf whistling, and loads of people have dealt with this before. It's almost old hat now. Wolf whistling, for those of you who don't know, is just a man whistling his appreciation at a woman across the street or who he walks past, and this is now apparently a hate crime in certain regions of Britain. The police have designated it as a hate crime, despite the fact that the police are not there to create laws. Parliament creates laws, the police just carry out, they do their job in upholding the law. And I saw this ridiculous debate on a clip here on YouTube. I can't find it, otherwise I'd leave a clip. It was ridiculous. And they started with a police officer, a male police officer, travelling around in his car, doing an interview saying how it affected women, how terrible it was. And it's just fucking absolutely ridiculous. And there was a woman in the studio saying that she'd been sexually harassed in the street on hundreds of occasions, and that she was advising the police on how they should react. It was fucking ridiculous. You know, the police, it's all a bloody smokescreen. The police can't solve real crime that actually does exist, so they end up being trivialised by politicians, feminist groups, local politicians, and they just send it, fuck you. You shouldn't blame the police. It's not their fault. This is a responsibility of the Home Office and members of Parliament to say fuck this, but the media introduced it just as they introduced the idea that air conditioning was sexist against women. I mean, is there anything fucking... Anita Sarkeesian said everything is sexist, and she meant sexist against women. But this wolf whistling shit, what the fuck? And a woman going into the police station saying a man whistled at me and I didn't like it, it was sexual harassment. It wasn't Brad Pitt in a Ferrari, it was an ordinary guy and I didn't like the look of him. Do something about it. Drop the muggings of old folk that you're looking into, and credit cards and rip-offs and burglaries. No, this is far more serious, because I'm the fucking Queen of Sheba, and a man did something to me that I didn't like, and I'm offended because I was waiting to be offended, willing to be offended, wanting to be offended. I'd lock her up in a fucking cell with a fucking mugger and let her get the shit beaten out. Okay, I wouldn't do that, but I'd lock her in a fucking cell and until she cooled down. Oh, actually, I need to cool down a little bit myself, but this makes me so angry. Where did it all end? With a man in court, charged with wolf whistling, being given a fine or community service, maybe hard labour on a chain gang, maybe prison? Where does it all fucking end? A gulag? Fucking, I don't know, hanging by the fucking neck till dead? And the police investigate these so-called crimes. Well, where did it happen? Oh, outside that store there. Well, they do, and the women, they're so offended, it's so terrible, that the man whistles at them, and they drop down in a dead faint, and the police fucking get there, or the ambulance get there, the police draw a fucking chalk line around the fainted woman's body, and then they put that fucking tape around the crime scene, then the local journalists turn up, then the national journalists turn up. I mean, okay, so I'm taking it to ridiculous levels, but how fucked up does this have to get before men say no, and fucking women wake up to their own bullshit? And traditionally, when a police officer in this country wants to set up a hue and cry, he gets out a whistle, and he whistles, and then 100 women around him hear it. They all fucking drop down in a dead faint. They think they're being wolf whistled at. How much more of this shit will men take before they stop treating it like a joke, which it is not? It's women gone fucking mad. It's society gone fucking mad, and feminists are just cunts. and some of the politicians who protect them, and the mainstream media, for me, they get the blame for fucking everything. When in doubt, with any social issue you can think of, and I'm going to do this in the future, blame the media. They are the government mouthpiece. They are the mouthpiece of the globalists. They are the ones who believe in divide and rule. Fuck the media. Thank you if you've got this far and tolerated this mini rant. Thumbs up always helps. Comments in the comment section if you disagree and think wolf whistling is an appalling crime. Anyway, thank you.